I know what you're feeling right now. You're alone, and it seems like something's missing. But this is exactly what you need. See, most guys, they can't handle being alone, and maybe this is you right now. They distract themselves with porn, video games, chasing women, parties, obsessing over sports teams, anything to avoid facing themselves. But the truth is, this season of solitude is your greatest opportunity. It's where you build strength, self respect, and it's where you find yourself. It's where you forge yourself. So today I'm going to go over 6 main points that I know if you implement these, your life will be 100 times better. So hang with me until the end. You can't miss a single one. But if you're new here, welcome to the Ascended Man. My name is Brian. I served in combat in the Marines at the age of 20. I was a certified personal trainer for over a decade, and I've coached tons of men to peak performance. And now my mission is to help you forge strength, elevate your spirit, and lead with purpose. So let's get into it. There was a time I felt completely alone. I was living in Florida at the time, and this was about 6 or 7 years ago, and I was working a night job. I had a lot of time to reflect. There was really no one around. I was doing overnight security while I was going to school full time, and I had a lot of time to myself. I was driving around and just had a lot of time to think. This was after a couple failed relationships, really bad heartbreaks, and I was trying to connect the dots and figure out what my role in this was, how I can improve as a person. So I'm working this job, and for about an entire year, I was working from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And I just started getting on YouTube. I started reading, listening to podcasts. I started learning about the difference between male and female psychology. I started exploring spirituality, different religions, just really kind of starting to branch out and learn different things, just new perspectives. It was really when I started getting into personal development. So this was the beginning of 2018. And as I was doing this, one of my best friends at the time, was a guy I was in the Marine Corps with. This was one of my best friends for years. We had been best friends for, at that point, at least 7 years or so. We talked all the time. And I remember I just started sharing my ideas with him as I was learning about new things that I would discover. And I got a lot of negative feedback. I got a lot of hate. And he would say things like, "Why are you trying to be some hippie? Why are you always changing? Why are you changing?" And it just didn't really feel like he supported me. It felt like I was trying to grow, and I saw myself going into a new phase of my own evolution, personal growth. And he wasn't willing to grow with me. He was very close-minded, but I realized, and at that time, I didn't really have a lot of other friends I could share this with. So I'm learning about these new things. My sister, fortunately, was my best friend at the time. She was really my only friend. She was the only person who I felt really understood me. And I'm really fortunate to have that, looking back on it. But I felt so alone because I was learning these new things, and I was seeing myself shed old and on with the new. And that's what happens in life when you are going through a season of growth and you are transitioning into a phase where you want more for yourself, and you are interested in new things, and you want to actually grow as a person. A lot of the people that knew you before aren't going to understand. And you know how they say everyone serves a role in your life. Some people are a lesson, a blessing, or sometimes they're both. And everybody has a season in our life. And sometimes it's kind of like the crabs in the bucket scenario where you put crabs in a bucket, and if one starts to climb out, they're going to start pulling that dude back down because they don't want him to go up in a way, and they don't want him to go have more freedom. You know what I'm saying? Or onto a new life rather. So I felt very, very alone. But as time went on, I started to find my way, and eventually the right people are going to come into your life. But my first point is you need to understand victimhood won't serve you. Number one. So the issue is many men stay stuck in loneliness because they see themselves as victims instead of taking control. And the reason this happens is because we're blaming external circumstances on why we aren't where we think we should be. Blaming external circumstances feels easier than taking responsibility for the change to happen. Now, the mindset shift that you need to have is you need to shift from a victim mentality to an ownership mindset, taking extreme ownership. You have to accept that your life is your responsibility. It's no one else's. Now, I used to feel like the world was against me. I blame my circumstances. I blame my dad. I blame anything in my past. Everything else for my situation but myself. But the moment I stopped seeing myself as a victim and started taking extreme ownership of my life, everything changed. Now, my second point is you need to learn how to be alone, at least for a season. Now, most men, they hate being alone. They have to have a girlfriend, or they have to always go out and do something. They can't just sit with themselves. Most men run from solitude. They drown it out with distractions, porn consumption, drinking, video games for hours and hours. Now, I'm not completely against video games, but if you're spending 8 hours a day playing video games and then you feel like absolute shit after, then it's probably not something you want to have in your life. Mindless scrolling, doom scrolling, TikTok, Instagram, getting sucked in, obsessing over sports teams. It could literally be anything. Just too many vices. But the reason this happens is because being alone, it forces you to face yourself. It forces you to sit with yourself. And that's very uncomfortable. So most guys, including myself in the past, escape into distractions to avoid dealing with their emotions and the deeper issues. You have to address the deeper issues. You have to step into the dark. It's only in the dark that you'll find the answer. It's only in the dark that going into the dark willingly is where you're going to be able to face your fears, face your traumas, and address them. Now, the solution is to embrace being alone. If you're in your 30s, if you're in your 20s, whatever, and you don't have a girlfriend right now, it's okay. Embrace this season. Embrace being alone. Stop running. Use this time, this season of your life to build discipline, self-awareness, and strength, physical strength, and inner strength. I remember that there were nights where I just sat in my room trying to distract myself with doom scrolling Instagram, TV, and porn, playing video games for hours when I'm drinking. Or just even going out and spending a ton of money, racking up my credit card that I didn't have on drinks and trying to impress women. But it never made me feel any better. The moment that I chose to sit with my thoughts, reflect, and actually work on myself instead of running, that's when things started shifting. I realized that my loneliness wasn't the enemy. It was the doorway to self-discovery. Let me say that again. I realized in solitude, in being alone, it was the doorway to self-discovery. Now, my third point is your vibration attracts people into your life. We've all heard the quote, your vibe attracts your tribe. Your inner world, let's say your inner world is a reflection of your outer world, or your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, rather. So people talk about toxic people that are in their life and they're tired of the drama, or they don't like this relationship or that one. But it's all up to you, bro. It's all up to you. You tend to allow toxic people in your life because you're afraid of being alone. And it happens when you operate from fear and scarcity. You settle for low quality relationships, friends, women, and just people who drain your energy instead of elevating you. It was just like I was telling you about my friend, that he was my ex-best friend. And when I started to grow and evolve and change, he didn't want to grow with me. His negative opinions were affecting me, making me feel like shit as well. Sometimes it's family that we have to distance ourselves from. Maybe it's the girlfriend. Maybe it's I don't know. But you have to always keep in mind, when you're around someone, I want you to pay attention to how your energy feels. How does your energy feel when you're around someone? Are they an energy vampire? Does it drain your energy? Or does it make you feel alive? Does it energize you? So the solution is you have to focus on raising your own standards first. Become the kind of person who naturally attracts quality people. And this will take time. Like I said, eventually the right people will come along on your path as long as you are aligned and living your truth. Well, what the fuck does that even mean? As long as you are doing what you want to do, and as long as you are on your path, as long as you are just listening to your soul, listening to your conscience, God, as you're living your life, stay on your path. The right people will come into your life eventually. Even if you're lonely right now, eventually the right people will come into your life. People that are aligned with you. Okay, so it's not something that you deal with for forever. Now, I used to surround myself with people who weren't really adding value to my life, just filling the space, just people to hang out with, or friends, I guess. But once I focused on improving myself and I prioritized my own, what's in my best interest for where I'm heading in life, once I put myself first, I naturally started meeting people who had the same ambition, drive, and mindset and interests. The right people come into your life when you become the kind of man who attracts them. My fourth point is start exploring things that genuinely interest you, bro. So right now, the issue is you probably feel lost because you haven't taken the time to truly explore your interests and your purpose. Why does this happen? Well, most men are so focused on external validation that they never develop a strong sense of self. The solution is to dive into learning, read books, listen to audiobooks, watch educational YouTube channels like this one, for example. Educate, inspire, and motivate yourself. Shout out to Elliot Hulse really quick. He is absolutely incredible. He has an amazing YouTube channel. I followed him for so long. I still do. He's been an incredible mentor that I've never met. He's really amazing. Start filling your mind with positive things. You need to start broadening your horizons and start learning new things, but only learn about the stuff that you're interested in. Like, if it doesn't interest you, then don't learn it. Like, it doesn't matter what anybody says. There's no right answer. Just start learning about different things that interest you. That's it. Plain and simple. So like I said, I guess it was towards the beginning of 2018 is when I became really obsessed with learning about philosophy, psychology, really starting to dive into spirituality. I started just exploring a lot of different things. I watched hours of YouTube, read tons of books, listened to a lot of audiobooks nonstop. And it felt like I was finally piecing together who I was meant to be, or at least getting that clarity on what it is that I wanted to do and who I was. And all this knowledge really gave me new perspectives. It gave me a foundation to build on, and it filled that void I was feeling over time. And it's a process, man. It takes time. All right. And my fifth point is you need to make sure that you're always increasing your sexual market value, your SMV. Now, what does that mean? Well, it can be tied to your work and your career, the money that you make, your resources, how you carry yourself, your physical appearance, your body, right? Having a sense of being well dressed, all these things, your SMV, your sexual market value. Okay. Now, why is this so important? Well, number one, people judge you based on the whole package, everything. They do. It's a competitive world. That's it at the end of the day. But you need to understand, number one, your self-worth and confidence are low because you're probably neglecting your body and appearance. Now, why does this happen? Well, life happens, right? But fitness is foundational. Most men ignore it or they don't take it seriously enough at all. The solution is to get lean, get ripped, get a six-pack, and prioritize your health. Even if you don't have much else going on in your life right now for you, this is the one thing that you can control. Now, you've actually probably heard, I don't know if you have or not, but there are more millionaires than there are people with a six-pack. That's crazy, right? Even if you don't really have that much money or you're not working a job yet that you like, it's okay because you can figure it out. But the one thing that you can control is your body and your physique and how good of shape you're in. Okay, now you don't have to look like a cover model, but I can say there was a point in time where I got insanely shredded and I still was able to get women. It gave me a ton of confidence. So if you don't have your physique together, work on getting lean, get a six-pack, because you can totally control that, and that will give you so much confidence, bro. It's going to give you so much confidence. I know I wasn't truly maximizing my potential years ago, but when I did take my training to the next level, my nutrition, I dialed that in. I started training like an athlete. My entire presence changed. My confidence just went through the roof. And walking into a room with that level of confidence is something that you can't fake. And achieving a really well sculpted physique is something that commands respect naturally from men and women. And it's just an aura about you, okay? But you still need to work on getting everything else together as well, okay? We need to be focused on our finances. We need to focus on actually getting out there and dating women, but not spending too much time on it, okay? Right now, if you're single, you need to be pouring everything you can into yourself. Don't even touch the dating apps right now that much. Like, if you're doing it a little bit here and there, that's fine. But if you want to take a period of time and literally just not even date, delete the apps. Focus on yourself. It's okay. My sixth point is you need to tap into God, bro. Source, the divine, whatever you want to call it. I call it God. The problem is right now, you're trying to do everything alone. And it's leading to frustration and feeling of emptiness. I can tell you right now, there's nothing else that's going to be able to help you as much as having that connection to God. This isn't about religion. This isn't about going to church. This isn't about any of that. It's literally just about connecting to Source, connecting to God, and praying, having that relationship with God, because only God can help you get through life and help you to figure things out, to give you that clarity that you need. Now, society conditions men to believe that they must be completely self-sufficient and you can do everything, but that's not the truth. You have to lean into faith. You have to ask God for guidance. You have to open yourself to a deeper spiritual path. And I encourage you to explore different teachings and everything, because there's a lot of truth out there. There's a lot of different truth in different religions. I know in Buddhism, there's lots of talk about solitude and meditation, right? Things of that nature. So I can honestly say I resisted turning to God for years. I thought that I had to figure everything out on my own. And I tried to force and do so much, but it only left me frustrated and feeling like I was so stressed and crazy amounts of anxiety. And I was so miserable too. But when I finally just surrendered and asked God for guidance, and I truly tapped into my faith, everything shifted for me. When I just started making it a priority, making it a part of my day, just like making my bed and brushing my teeth. When I started doing this consistently is when I started to find the clarity that I needed. It's when I started to have clarity on my purpose and what I should be doing. And it really gave me a peace that no amount of self-improvement books could ever give me. So I highly encourage you to try it. But let me just give you a brief recap. So number one is we have to shift out of victimhood. You own your situation. Number two, embrace being alone. It's your greatest opportunity. Number three is cut out distractions and toxic influences from your life. Number four is remember your vibe attracts your tribe. Number five is dive into self-improvement with your mind, with your body, and just explore your real interests, anything that you're interested in, anything that you're feeling called to. Number six, build your body. It's the foundation for confidence. And tap into God. This is the missing piece that will guide you. Remember this, solitude isn't loneliness. It's not loneliness. It's the gift of self-discovery. And the strongest men are forged in silence, where they learn, grow, and rise into their true power. But that's all I have for you guys today. If this video resonated with you, bro, I want you to hit that like button. Drop a comment down below of what you're going through right now. And let me know which point hit home most for you. Share this with a friend who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe. We are building a community of men here who are forging strength, elevating their spirit, and leading with purpose. I'll see you guys in the next one.